On a bitter winter morning in a small-town garage, a young mechanic with a limp walked in, silently enduring the jeers of his coworkers. All he wanted was to work hard and earn enough to buy medicine for his mother. Then, out of nowhere, a drenched man burst through the door, his car dead, his voice trembling with desperation. No one moved. No one cared. Until the young mechanic stepped forward, fixed the car for free, and lost his job because of it. But the next morning an unexpected email arrived, revealing a truth that would change his life forever. Before we continue, tell us what time it is and where you're watching from, subscribe and hype, because tomorrow I've got something extra special for you. The morning shift at Hamilton Auto Works started the same way it always did, with the metallic clang of tools hitting concrete and the sharp smell of oil mixing with coffee from the break room. Eli Carter arrived at 6:45, 15 minutes early like always, his right leg dragging slightly as he made his way through the side entrance. 22 years old, and he'd been working here for 3 years. Long enough to know every sound the garage made, every crack in the floor, every stain on the walls. Long enough to know exactly where he stood. The accident had happened when he was 7. A drunk driver ran a red light while Eli was crossing the street with his mother. She pulled him back just in time to save his life, but not fast enough to save his leg. The doctors did what they could. Physical therapy helped. But the limp never went away, and neither did the pain on cold mornings or after long shifts. He moved slower than the other mechanics. His hands were just as skilled, maybe more so, but getting down under a car took him twice as long. Getting back up took even longer. "Morning, Limpy," called out Jake from across the shop floor. He said it with a grin, like it was just a nickname, just a joke between coworkers. Eli nodded back. Morning. He'd learned not to react, learned that saying something would only make it worse, make them think he was sensitive, couldn't take a joke. So he said nothing, just pulled on his work gloves and checked the job board. 2 oil changes, 1 brake job, 1 diagnostic, all assigned to other mechanics. "Carter," a voice called from the office doorway. Martha Klein, branch manager, mid-40s, always dressed like she was about to meet with corporate. She motioned him over with one finger. He limped across the garage floor, aware of the eyes following him. Martha didn't look up from her clipboard. "We've got a fleet inspection coming in this afternoon. I need you to prep the alignment bay, clean it, organize the tools, make sure everything looks professional." "I can handle one of the diagnostics," Eli said quietly. "I finished yesterday's work early." "The alignment bay, Carter." She finally looked at him, her smile tight and practiced. "We all have our roles here. Yours is important too." He knew what she meant. She'd said it before, in different ways. During the company diversity meeting last month, she'd actually put her hand on his shoulder and told the visiting executives, "We believe in giving opportunities to everyone." Eli here is proof of that. Like he was a charity case, like his presence made them look good. "Yes, ma'am," he said. As he turned to leave, he heard her voice drop to a murmur, talking to Lisa at the front desk. He wasn't supposed to hear. But the acoustics in the garage carried everything. "We need him for the optics, you know. Corporate loves that we're inclusive. But between you and me, we can't put him on anything time sensitive." Lisa's response was too quiet to hear, but Martha's laugh was clear enough. Eli kept walking. He grabbed a broom and a rag and headed to the alignment bay. His leg throbbed with each step. The work was mindless: sweep the floor, wipe down the equipment, organize the tools by size. It was the kind of work they gave to new hires on their first day, not to someone who'd been here for 3 years, who'd studied automotive technology at community college, who knew engine systems better than half the guys out on the floor. But this was the deal. This was the price. Through the bay window, he could see the other mechanics working. Travis was under a BMW, headphones in, taking his time. Marcus was talking to a customer, explaining something about transmission fluid with the easy confidence of someone who knew he belonged there. Jake was in the pit, probably scrolling through his phone. They were younger than Eli, hired after him. They made more per hour. They got the complex jobs, the ones that paid commission. He didn't hate them for it. Not really. They were just doing their jobs, just living their lives. It wasn't their fault the world worked this way. "Hey Carter," Travis called out during the lunch break. You gonna eat that sandwich or just stare at it? Eli looked down, his lunch peanut butter and jelly on white bread, same as always, sat untouched in his lap. He was sitting on the curb outside, away from the break room where everyone else gathered. Just thinking, he said. About what? How to walk faster. Jake laughed at his own joke. A few others joined in. Eli took a bite of his sandwich, chewed, swallowed. Travis seemed to realize the joke had gone too far. Hey man, we're just messing with you. You know that, right? Yeah, Eli said. I know, but he also knew that every joke had truth in it. Every laugh reminded him that he was different, slower, less, that they saw him as someone to pity or mock, never as an equal. He finished his lunch in silence, watching the cars pass by on the street. Yellow cabs, delivery trucks, business people in their sedans rushing to wherever they needed to be. Everyone moving fast, going somewhere important. His phone buzzed, a text from his mother. How's work, baby? Don't forget to eat. He typed back quickly. Work's good, mama. Just had lunch. How are you feeling? The reply came a minute later. Good day today. The new medicine is helping. Don't worry about me. But he did worry. She lived 4 hours upstate in their small hometown, in the house where he'd grown up. She had arthritis now, bad enough that she couldn't work anymore. The medicine she mentioned cost $200 a month, even with insurance. Her Social Security barely covered rent and utilities. Everything else, the medicine, the groceries, the repairs when something broke, that was on him. That's why he stayed at Hamilton Auto Works. He sent money home every other Friday, $300 when he could manage it, $250 when the month was tight. It wasn't much, but it was everything. Carter, breaks over. Martha's voice cut through his thoughts. He stood up, his legs stiff from sitting, and limped back inside. The afternoon was more of the same. Cleaning, organizing, staying out of the way while the real mechanics did the real work. He told himself it was fine, that having a job at all was something to be grateful for, that plenty of people had it worse. But sometimes, late at night in his room, he let himself imagine something different. A garage of his own. Small maybe, just 2 or 3 bays. A place where he could work at his own pace, where he could hire people who actually needed a chance, not for optics, but because everyone deserved to earn a living with dignity. He'd even picked out a name, Carter's Auto, simple, honest. But it was just a dream. He had $4,000 saved up, tucked away in a savings account that earned almost nothing in interest. To open even a small garage, he'd need at least $50,000 for equipment, rent, insurance, permits. It would take him years, maybe decades, maybe never. Hey Eli. He looked up. Marcus was standing there, holding a wrench, his expression almost apologetic. Yeah? Listen, about the jokes and stuff, we don't mean anything by it. You know that, right? Eli nodded. I know. It's just you're good at what you do. Really good. I've seen the work you do on your own time, the way you diagnose problems. You should be out here with us, not cleaning bays. Thanks, Eli said. He meant it. Marcus was decent, kinder than most. Have you ever talked to Martha about it? About getting real assignments? Yeah, she says I'm valuable where I am. Marcus shook his head. That's messed up, man. It is what it is, doesn't have to be. But they both knew it did. Marcus went back to his bay, and Eli went back to organizing tools that were already organized. By the time 6 o'clock came around, his leg was screaming. He'd been on his feet for 10 hours, and the old injury always got worse when he was tired. He clocked out, waved goodbye to no one in particular, and stepped out into the Manhattan evening. The city was loud and bright and moving, always moving. He started the walk back to the boarding house, 16 blocks north and 3 blocks west. His limp was more pronounced now, each step a small negotiation with pain. People passed him on the sidewalk, fast and focused, their eyes on their phones or the distance ahead. Nobody looked at him. Nobody slowed down. That was fine. He preferred it that way. Mrs. Thompson's boarding house was a narrow brownstone squeezed between a bodega and a dry cleaner. 5 rooms, shared bathroom on each floor, kitchen privileges if you cleaned up after yourself. His room was on the third floor, barely big enough for a twin bed, a dresser, and a small desk where he kept his books on engine repair. Mrs. Thompson herself was usually in the front parlor, watching her evening shows. She was 70-something. A widow who turned her home into a boarding house after her husband died. She charged fair rent and didn't ask too many questions. In his room he sat on the edge of the bed and slowly unlaced his boots. His right foot was swollen, the ankle puffy and hot to the touch. He massaged it gently, wincing. Tomorrow would be the same, and the day after that, and the day after that. But he'd get through it. He always did. He pulled out his phone and texted his mother. "Love you, Mama. Sleep well." Her reply came quickly. "Love you too, baby. So proud of you." He stared at those words for a long time. Then he turned off the light and lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the city outside his window, sirens and voices and the distant rumble of the subway beneath the street. Somewhere out there, people were living different lives, easier lives, lives where they didn't have to prove their worth every single day, where their bodies worked the way they were supposed to, where kindness wasn't something to be rationed carefully. But this was his life, and he'd make it work. He had to. The rain started just after 8 in the morning. Light at first, then steady. By 9, it was coming down hard enough to turn the street outside Hamilton Auto Works into a river of gray water and oil slicks. Eli was in the back, rotating tires on a Honda that had been sitting for 2 days. Slow work, methodical, the kind that didn't require him to move much. His leg was better today, not good, but better. The bell above the front entrance chimed. Through the bay door, he could see a man stepping into the waiting area, shaking rain from his coat. Mid-50s, maybe older, wearing a gray windbreaker and jeans. His hair was wet and pushed back from his face, and he moved with the kind of hurried energy that came from genuine worry. Lisa was at the front desk, typing something on her computer. She barely looked up. The man approached the counter. "Excuse me, I need help. My car, it died about 2 blocks from here. I tried to restart it, but nothing's working." Lisa held up one finger without looking at him. Finished typing. Then glanced up with a practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, I was just driving and it stopped. I really need to get it running. My daughter, she's at Mount Sinai, He stopped, collected himself. "It's urgent, please. Sir, we work by appointment. If you want to schedule something, our next available slot is Thursday afternoon." "Thursday, that's 4 days from now." "Yes sir, we're very busy. Can't someone just take a look? I'll pay whatever you need. I just need to get to the hospital." "I was trying to get to the hospital. My daughter, she's sick, and I need to get there, but my phone is dead, and I can't call for a ride, and there's no cabs." And he stopped, took a breath. Lisa's smile went flat. "Sir, I understand you're in a difficult situation, but we have a system. If we made exceptions for everyone, we'd have chaos." From the garage floor, Eli could hear every word. The man's voice had that edge to it, the kind that came from fear, not anger. He was desperate. Travis and Jake were by the coffee machine, half listening. Jake smirked. "Another guy who thinks his emergency is our problem." Travis shrugged. "Lisa'll send him away. She always does." Martha emerged from her office, drawn by the raised voices. She sized up the situation in a glance. Rumpled man in cheap coat, no appointment, probably no money, and stepped in. "Sir, I'm the manager here. As my colleague explained, we can't take walk-ins today. There's a mechanic shop about 6 blocks south. They might be able to help you." 6 blocks, in this rain. I can barely. The man caught himself again. "Look, I don't need much. Just someone to tell me what's wrong. 5 minutes. That's all. That's not how we operate." "I'm sorry." She wasn't sorry. Eli could tell. He'd heard that tone before, polite enough to avoid confrontation, cold enough to make the rejection clear. The man stood there for a moment, soaked and shaking slightly. Then he nodded, turned, and pushed back out into the rain. Lisa went back to her computer. Martha returned to her office. Travis and Jake resumed their conversation. Eli set down his wrench. His leg protested as he stood, but he ignored it. He walked, limped across the garage floor, past the break room toward the front entrance. "Carter, where are you going?" Martha called out. "That Honda needs to be done by 11. He didn't answer. He pushed through the door into the rain. The man was standing on the sidewalk, staring at his phone, rain streaming down his face. He looked lost. "Sir," Eli called out. The man turned. "Where's your car?" "What? Your car? Where is it?" "2 blocks east, corner of 33rd. "But they said." "I'll take a look." "They said they can't help without an appointment." "I know what they said." Eli pulled his hood up. "But I can still take a look." "Come on." They walked together through the rain, neither speaking. The man kept glancing at Eli, confusion and hope mixed on his face. "You work there?" "Yeah." "Won't you get in trouble?" "Maybe." "Probably." Eli's leg was already aching from the wet cold. "But let's see what's wrong first." The car was a Volvo sedan, maybe 20 years old, parked halfway into a loading zone. The man unlocked it and popped the hood. Eli leaned in, rain dripping off his hood onto the engine block. He checked the battery terminals. Clean. He checked the fuel line. Clear. Then he saw it. The serpentine belt, snapped clean through, hanging loose like a broken promise. "It's your belt," Eli said. "The serpentine belt. It drives your alternator, your power steering, your AC. Without it, the engine won't run. Can you fix it?" "Not here. Not without the parts. But," he thought for a moment, "I can put on a temporary fix, get you running long enough to drive to the hospital. It won't last more than a day or two, but it'll get you there." "Really? Wait here." Eli walked back to Hamilton Auto Works, his limp more pronounced now, pain shooting up from his ankle with each step. He went straight to the parts inventory in the back, found a belt that was close enough in size, and tucked it under his jacket. Martha was on the phone in her office. Travis and Jake were working, not paying attention. Lisa was helping a customer. He slipped back out into the rain. It took him 20 minutes, working in the cold and wet, his hands slippery and numb. The belt wasn't a perfect fit, but he made it work, tightening it as much as he could, routing it through the pulleys with the kind of care that came from years of practice. The man stood there the whole time, holding an umbrella over Eli's head. "Try it now," Eli said finally, stepping back. The man got in and turned the key. The engine coughed, sputtered, then caught. It ran rough, but it ran. He stepped back out, his face breaking into the first smile Eli had seen. "Thank you, God, thank you. How much do I owe you?" "Nothing." "No, please let me. You need to get to your daughter. Go." The man reached for his wallet anyway, but Eli held up a hand. "Just drive safe, and get that belt replaced properly as soon as you can." "I will." The man paused. "What's your name?" "Eli Carter." "Daniel Reeves. I won't forget this, Eli." They shook hands. Then Daniel got in his car and pulled away, the engine rattling but running, disappearing into the rain and traffic. Eli stood there for a moment, soaked through, water running down his back, his leg throbbing. Then he turned and limped back to the garage. He knew what was coming. Martha was waiting for him just inside the door, arms crossed. "Where were you, helping that man with his car?" "The one without an appointment." "Yes, ma'am." "Did you take parts from our inventory?" He could lie, but he didn't. "Yes, ma'am." Her face went hard. "Come into my office, now." He followed her, aware of the eyes on him. Lisa, Travis, Jake, Marcus, all watching. Martha closed the door and turned on him. "Do you have any idea what you just did?" "I helped someone." "You stole from company inventory. You took on work without authorization. You ignored direct instructions from both me and the front desk." He needed help. His daughter's in the hospital. "I don't care if his daughter is the Queen of England. We have rules, Carter. Rules that keep this business running. You don't just get to do whatever you want, because you feel sorry for someone." "I didn't charge him anything. I didn't use company time. I did it on company property. Everything you do here is company time." She leaned forward, her voice dropping. "You know what your problem is. You think being nice makes you special. You think limping around here, being humble and helpful, means you're better than everyone else. I don't think that. Yes, you do. You think you're some kind of saint, but you know what you really are. She smiled, thin and cold. You should remember why you were hired, Carter. You're good for our image, not for our deadlines. Because when corporate comes around and asks about our diversity numbers, we can point to you and say, look, we employ people with disabilities. We're so compassionate. The words hit harder than any insult Jake or Travis had ever thrown at him. But here's the truth, Martha continued. We don't actually need you. We keep you around because it's good PR. And if you can't even follow basic rules, then we don't even need you for that. Eli stood there, water dripping from his clothes onto her carpet, and said nothing. You're fired, Carter. Effective immediately. The words hung in the air. You can collect your things and go. Eli didn't move at first. He stood there in Martha's office, water pooling around his feet, trying to process what had just happened. Fired. 3 years. Gone. Just like that. Did you hear me? Martha's voice was sharp. You're done. Get your stuff and leave. He found his voice. Can I at least finish out the day? No. You're done now. I'm not risking you taking anything else that doesn't belong to you. I wasn't stealing. I don't care what you call it. Leave. Now. Through the office window, he could see the garage floor. Travis had stopped working and was watching. So was Jake. Lisa pretended to be busy at her computer, but her eyes kept darting toward the office. Marcus met his gaze and looked away quickly. Eli turned toward the door. And Carter. Martha called after him. Don't use us as a reference. I'll make sure everyone knows what you did here. He didn't respond, didn't trust himself to speak. He just walked out of the office, across the garage floor, toward the small locker where he kept his personal tools. The walk felt longer than it should have. Every step echoed in the sudden quiet. The rain hammered on the garage roof, loud in the absence of conversation. He opened his locker. His spare work gloves, a sweatshirt, a thermos his mother had sent him for Christmas, a photograph of her taped to the inside of the locker door, smiling in the garden behind their house. He took the photo carefully, slipped it into his jacket pocket. Hey Eli. It was Marcus, voice low. That's messed up, man. What she did. It's not right. Eli packed his tools into his bag. Wrenches, sockets, a diagnostic scanner he'd bought himself because the shop's was always in use. Everything he'd accumulated over 3 years, fitting into one canvas bag. You were just trying to help, Marcus continued. We all saw that. Yeah, maybe you should talk to HR or something. File a complaint. Eli almost laughed. HR worked for corporate, and corporate cared about one thing: protecting the company. A mechanic with a limp who'd taken inventory without permission. He wouldn't stand a chance. It's fine, he said. It's not fine, but it was what it was. Eli zipped up his tool bag and slung it over his shoulder. The weight made his bad leg buckle slightly, and he had to catch himself against the locker. Travis called out from across the floor. Hey, sorry man. For real. Eli nodded, didn't look at him. Jake said nothing, neither did Lisa. He walked toward the exit, past Martha's office. She was back on her phone, already moving on, already forgetting. The bell above the door chimed as he stepped out into the rain. It was coming down harder now, heavy drops that hit like tiny hammers. He pulled his hood up and started walking. No destination in mind, just away. Away from Hamilton Auto Works, away from Martha's voice, away from the eyes that had watched him pack up his life into one canvas bag. The tool bag dug into his shoulder, his legs screamed with each step, water soaked through his jeans, his boots, ran down his neck and back. He'd been walking for maybe 10 minutes when he realized he didn't even know where he was going. Home was the other direction, but he couldn't face that small room yet, couldn't sit there and think about what had just happened. So he kept walking. The streets were emptier in the rain. Cars passed, spraying water. A few people hurried by under umbrellas, heads down, focused on getting wherever they needed to be. Nobody looked at him. He thought about his mother, thought about the text he'd have to send her eventually. Lost my job today, Mama. But don't worry, I'll find something else. She'd worry anyway. Of course she would.
She'd offer to cut back on her medicine, tell him she didn't need it, that she was feeling better, and he'd have to lie and say he had savings, that they'd be fine, when the truth was his savings were about to become his grocery money, his rent money. The only thing standing between him and the street. A bus roared past close to the curb, and a wave of dirty water hit him full in the side. He stumbled, nearly went down, caught himself at the last second. His tool bag slipped from his shoulder and hit the sidewalk. The zipper, already old and worn, burst open. Tools scattered across the wet concrete, wrenches rolled into the gutter. His diagnostic scanner bounced and skidded, landing screen down in a puddle. Eli stood there, staring at the mess. Then he got down on his hands and knees and started picking things up. His hands were shaking. From the cold maybe, or from something else. Something that felt like anger, but also like grief, like the kind of tired that went all the way down to your bones. One of his wrenches had rolled down a storm drain. He could see it there just out of reach. He stretched his arm through the grate, fingers grasping, but it was too far down, gone. It was a good wrench too, 10mm. The most used size. His father had given it to him before he died, back when Eli was 16, and just starting to learn about cars. "You okay, son?" Eli looked up. An older black woman stood there, holding a large umbrella, her face concerned. She had kind eyes, the kind that had seen trouble before, and knew what it looked like. "I'm fine," he said. "Just dropped some things. Don't look fine to me." She held the umbrella over him, keeping the rain off while he gathered the rest of his tools. "You're soaked through. When's the last time you ate something?" "I'm okay, ma'am." "Really? Mum?" She didn't sound convinced. "I'm Mrs. Thompson. I live right over there." She pointed to a brownstone across the street. "You look like you could use some hot tea and a dry place to sit for a minute." "Mrs. Thompson." He looked up at her, recognizing her now through the rain. "It's me, Eli. I live on your 3rd floor. Her expression shifted from concern to recognition to something deeper. "Oh baby, what happened?" "Lost my job." She didn't ask why or how, just nodded slowly. "Come on, let's get you inside. I don't want to trouble you." "You're not trouble, you're family. Now come on before you catch pneumonia." She helped him to his feet, steadied him when his bad leg almost gave out. Together they crossed the street and climbed the steps to the brownstone. Inside the house was warm and smelled like someone had been baking earlier. She led him to the kitchen and pointed to a chair. "Sit, take off those wet things." He sat, shrugged off his jacket, unlaced his boots with stiff cold fingers. "Mrs. Thompson put a kettle on the stove and pulled down 2 mugs. "You want to talk about it?" "Not much to say. I helped someone. My boss didn't like it. Now I'm here." "You helped someone, and got fired for it?" "Yes, ma'am." "Then your boss is a fool." She dropped tea bags into the mugs. "The world needs more people willing to help, not fewer." "Doesn't feel like it right now." "I know it doesn't, but that feeling's just hurt talking. It'll pass." The kettle whistled. She poured hot water into both mugs, added honey to one and sugar to the other, then brought them to the table.
"Drink, warm up, then you can go upstairs and rest." He wrapped his hands around the mug, letting the heat seep into his numb fingers. The tea was strong and sweet, exactly what he needed. Mrs. Thompson sat across from him, her own mug cradled in her weathered hands. She didn't say anything else. Didn't need to. Sometimes silence was its own kind of comfort. After a while, he finished his tea and stood. "Thank you, Eli." He turned. "You're gonna be okay. You're a good man. Good men land on their feet. Might take time, but you will." He wanted to believe that. He really did. "Yes, ma'am." He climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, each step an effort, his wet clothes heavy, his tool bag heavier. His room was exactly as he'd left it that morning. Neat, spare, everything in its place. He set down the bag, peeled off his wet clothes and sat on the edge of the bed in just his boxers and t-shirt. His phone was in his jacket pocket. He pulled it out. One missed call. Voicemail. He played it. "Mr. Carter, this is Daniel Reeves, the man you helped this morning. I wanted to thank you again. You probably saved my daughter's life. I made it to the hospital in time and, well, I'll explain more later, but I need to see you. Please call me back at this number. It's important." Eli saved the message and put the phone on the desk. Then he lay back on the bed and closed his eyes. The rain drummed against the window. The radiator hissed and clanked. Somewhere downstairs Mrs. Thompson's television murmured quietly. He thought about the man, Daniel Reeves, and his daughter in the hospital. Thought about the broken belt and the temporary fix and the way the engine had caught, rough but running. At least he'd done that. At least one thing had gone right today. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. "Good night, baby. Talk tomorrow. Love you." He stared at the message for a long time. Then he typed back, "Love you too, Mama." He didn't tell her about losing his job. Not yet. Tomorrow would be soon enough for bad news. He turned off the phone and rolled over facing the wall. Outside, the rain kept falling, washing the city clean, carrying everything away, dirt and oil and the last traces of the day he'd just lived through. Sleep didn't come easy, but eventually it came. And with it, dreams of a garage that didn't exist yet, where the sign over the door read Carter's Auto, and inside everyone who walked through that door was treated like they mattered, even if it was just a dream, especially because it was just a dream. Eli woke to pale gray light filtering through his window. For a moment, still half in sleep, he thought it was a normal morning. Thought he needed to get up, get dressed, head to Hamilton Auto Works for the early shift. Then he remembered. He lay there staring at the water-stained ceiling, listening to the sounds of the boarding house waking up, Mrs. Thompson moving around downstairs, someone in the bathroom running water, the radiator clanking to life, no job to go to, no income. Rent was due in 12 days. His phone sat on the desk, dark and silent. He'd turned it off last night, couldn't deal with any more messages or calls. Now he reached for it, powered it on. 7:32 a.m., Thursday. 3 texts from his mother. "Morning, sweetie. Don't forget to eat breakfast. Call me when you have time. Love you." He'd have to tell her today. Couldn't put it off any longer. 2 missed calls, both from the same number. The one Daniel Reeves had left a message from yesterday. Eli sat up slowly, his legs stiff and sore from yesterday's cold and wet. He needed to shower, needed to eat, needed to start looking at job listings online. But first, he should probably call this Daniel guy back. At least thank him for checking in. Let him know everything was fine. Except everything wasn't fine. He dialed the number. It rang twice, then a voice answered. "Eli, is that you?" "Yes, sir. This is Eli Carter. You called yesterday." "I did. Thank you for calling back. Listen, I know you must be wondering why I'm reaching out, but I need to see you in person. Can you come to my office today?" "Your office?" "Reeves Tower, 47th floor. Do you know it?" Eli knew it. Everyone in Manhattan knew Reeves Tower. A gleaming glass building in Midtown, one of those places where the rent for a single floor probably cost more than his entire neighborhood. "Mr. Reeves, I appreciate you wanting to thank me, but you don't have to. This isn't just about thanking you. Please, it's important. Can you be here at 10? Eli looked around his small room, at the empty space where his work uniform used to hang, at the tool bag still damp from yesterday's rain. What did he have to lose? "Yes, sir, I can be there." "Good. Come to the main desk and tell them you're meeting Daniel Reeves. They'll bring you up." "Okay." "And Eli, what you did yesterday. I meant what I said. You probably saved my daughter's life. I need you to understand that." The line went quiet for a moment. "See you at 10, Daniel said, and hung up. Eli sat there, phone in hand, trying to make sense of the conversation. Why would a man with an office in Reeves Tower need to see him? Just to say thank you. That didn't require meeting in person. You could send a thank you note for that. Maybe some money, unless there was something else. He showered quickly, careful not to use too much hot water. Mrs. Thompson didn't charge extra for utilities, but he tried to be mindful anyway. He dressed in the only nice clothes he owned, dark slacks and a button-up shirt, slightly wrinkled but clean. Downstairs Mrs. Thompson was in the kitchen, scrambling eggs. "Morning, Eli. You want some breakfast?" "I'm okay, thank you." She gave him a look. "You're not okay. You didn't eat dinner last night, and I know you don't skip meals, unless something's wrong. Sit, eat." He sat. She put a plate in front of him. Scrambled eggs, toast, 2 strips of bacon, more food than he usually ate in the morning. "Mrs. Thompson, you don't have to. I don't have to do anything. I want to. Now eat." He ate. The food was good, warm and filling. He hadn't realized how hungry he was until the first bite. "Where you headed today?" she asked, sitting across from him with her own plate. "Meeting someone." "Downtown. Job interview?" "I don't think so. Just a meeting." She studied him with those kind, knowing eyes. "You're gonna be all right, Eli. I've seen a lot of young people come through this house over the years. Some of them get knocked down and stay down, but you're the kind who gets back up." "How do you know?" "Because you're here. Because you didn't give up yesterday when you had every reason to." "That's how I know." He finished breakfast, thanked her and headed out. The subway was crowded with morning commuters. He stood near the door, holding the pole, watching the mix of people, business suits and construction workers and students and everyone in between, all packed together, all going somewhere. He got off at 42nd Street and walked the rest of the way. His leg was doing better today, less pain, more stability. Reeves Tower rose up like a monument to money and power, all glass and steel catching the morning light. The plaza out front had a fountain and carefully maintained flower beds. Security guards in crisp uniforms stood by the revolving doors. Eli felt out of place immediately. He pushed through the doors anyway. The lobby was enormous, marble floors polished to a mirror shine, ceiling 3 stories high. People moved through it with purpose, their shoes clicking, their voices echoing. He approached the main desk, where a woman in a perfect suit sat behind a perfect computer. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Daniel Reeves. My name is Eli Carter. I have a 10 o'clock. She checked her computer, nodded. "Yes, Mr. Carter. Mr. Reeves is expecting you. Take elevator bank C to the 47th floor. Someone will meet you there." "Thank you." The elevator was glass-walled, offering a view of the city as it rose. Eli watched Manhattan spread out below him, buildings and streets and tiny cars, and tried not to think about how high up he was. The doors opened on the 47th floor into a reception area that looked like something from a magazine. Everything was clean lines and expensive furniture and artwork that probably cost more than his yearly salary, former salary. A young man in a tailored suit stood waiting. "Mr. Carter, I'm James, Mr. Reeves's assistant. Please follow me." They walked down a hallway lined with conference rooms and offices. Through the windows, Eli could see people in meetings, people on phones, people staring at multiple computer screens. James stopped at a large wooden door, knocked twice. "Come in," a voice called. The office inside was massive. Windows on 2 walls, a desk the size of Eli's entire room, bookshelves and art, and a sitting area with leather couches. Daniel Reeves stood by the window, looking out at the city. He turned as Eli entered, and his face broke into a genuine smile. "Eli, thank you for coming." He crossed the room and shook Eli's hand warmly. "Please, sit." Eli sat on one of the leather couches. Daniel sat across from him, leaning forward, elbows on his knees. "How's your daughter?" Eli asked. Daniel's expression softened. "She's stable. The doctors say she's responding well to treatment. Thanks to you I got there in time to see her before her surgery. She's strong, but cancer doesn't care how strong you are. I'm glad she's okay. She asked about you. I told her what you did. She wants to meet you someday, when she's better." "You didn't have to tell her." "Yes, I did. She needs to know there are still good people in the world." Daniel sat back. "Which brings me to why I asked you here." He pulled out his phone, tapped something, then turned the screen toward Eli. It was a video. Security camera footage from Hamilton Auto Works. The timestamp showed yesterday morning. Eli watched himself help Daniel at the front desk, watched Lisa dismiss him, watched himself walk out into the rain. "I had someone pull the full footage," Daniel said. "I wanted to see what happened after I left." He swiped to another video. This one showed Eli returning to the garage, soaked, showed him getting called into Martha's office. No audio, but the body language was clear enough. Martha pointing, gesturing, her face hard. Eli standing there taking it. Then the final scene, Eli packing his tools, walking out. "They fired you," Daniel said quietly, "for helping me." "Yes, sir." "Do you know who I am, Eli?" "Someone with an office on the 47th floor. Daniel smiled slightly. "Fair enough. My name is Daniel Reeves. I'm the chairman of Reeves Industrial Group." We manufacture automotive parts, engine components, electrical systems, brake assemblies. We supply parts to most of the major car companies in North America. He paused, his expression softening. Yesterday, I wasn't visiting as a chairman. I was just a father trying to reach his daughter's hospital in time. My car broke down, and I walked into Hamilton Auto Works because it was the closest shop I could find. He looked out the window for a moment before continuing. After you helped me, I started thinking about how I'd been treated before you stepped in, the dismissive attitude, the way they looked at me. I reviewed the security footage later, and realized it wasn't just me. It's how they treat anyone who doesn't look like they can pay full price. He turned back to Eli. That's when I decided to dig deeper. What I saw confirmed every rumor I'd heard about bias and hypocrisy. And then there was you, the one person who helped without asking for anything in return. And what I saw, he shook his head, the way they dismissed me, the way they talked about me after I left. The cameras have audio, Eli. I heard what they said, and then I saw you. He pulled up another video. This one showed Eli walking out into the rain, despite everything, to help a stranger. You didn't know who I was, you had nothing to gain. In fact, you had everything to lose, and you lost it, but you helped anyway. Eli didn't know what to say. That's the kind of person I want in my companies, Daniel continued. Someone who does the right thing even when it costs them. Someone who treats people like they matter, not because it looks good on a report, but because it's the right thing to do. He stood and walked to his desk, picked up a folder, and brought it back. I'm not just here to thank you, Eli. I'm here to offer you something. He opened the folder. Inside were documents, forms, papers with official letterhead. Hamilton Auto Works is going to undergo some changes. Martha Klein will be terminated today. So will several other managers who've been documented engaging in discriminatory practices. The company's going to implement real diversity training, real accountability. He pulled out another document, and I want you to come back. Not as a mechanic, as lead technical supervisor. You'll oversee the garage operations, mentor new mechanics, establish the culture I want to see. The salary is $75,000 a year, plus benefits, plus a performance bonus. Eli stared at the paper, at the numbers that seemed impossible. $75,000. He made $32,000 at his old position. This was more than double. This was enough to move his mother to the city, get her better health care, maybe even start saving for that garage he dreamed about. I don't know what to say. You don't have to decide right now. Take the paperwork home, read it over, think about it. Daniel smiled. But I hope you'll say yes. I think you could make a real difference there. Why me? You could hire someone with more experience, someone with what? A degree from a fancy school, years of management experience. Daniel shook his head. I've hired plenty of those people. They know how to do the job. But you know something more important. You know how to treat people with dignity. That's rarer than you think. Eli looked down at the papers in his hands, at the opportunity being offered to him. There's one more thing, Daniel said. He walked back to his desk and returned with something small, a business card. When you're ready, not now, but someday, when you're ready to open that garage you dream about, call me. I'd like to be your first investor. How did you? I do my research. I know you've been saving. I know you've been planning. I believe in backing people who have both the skill and the character to succeed. He held out the card. Think about it. Eli took the card, looked at the name embossed on it, the phone number, the address. Mr. Reeves, I don't know how to thank you. You already did, yesterday in the rain, when you fixed my car. That was thanks enough. Daniel extended his hand. Welcome to the team, Eli. I'm looking forward to working with you. They shook hands, and for the first time in a long time, Eli felt something that had been missing. Hope. The subway ride back to the boarding house felt different this time. The same crowds, the same noise, but Eli saw it all through changed eyes. He clutched the folder against his chest, the papers inside representing a future he'd barely let himself imagine. $75,000 a year, lead technical supervisor.
The numbers and the title kept repeating in his mind. Not quite real, not quite believable. Mrs. Thompson was watering her plants on the front stoop when he arrived home. She took one look at his face and smiled. Good meeting. Yeah. He couldn't quite keep the amazement out of his voice. Really good, told you. Good men land on their feet. In his room he spread the papers out on his small desk and read through them carefully. Employment contract, benefits package, company handbook, everything official, everything real. He picked up his phone and stared at it for a long moment. Then he called his mother. She answered on the second ring. Eli, baby, is everything okay? Yeah, Mama, everything's okay. He took a breath. Actually, everything's better than okay. What do you mean? I got a new job, a better job, a lot better. Oh, sweetheart, that's wonderful. Doing what? He told her everything. The man in the rain, the firing, the meeting at Reeves Tower, the offer. His mother listened without interrupting, and when he finished, there was silence on the line. Mama, I'm here, baby. Her voice caught. I'm just so proud of you. Your daddy would be so proud. I haven't done anything yet. Yes, you have. You helped someone who needed help. You did the right thing even when it cost you. That's everything, Eli. That's what matters. They talked for another hour. He promised to send her money for that new medicine she needed, promised to visit soon, promised that things were finally going to get better. After he hung up, he sat at his desk and looked at Daniel Reeves's business card. The one about investing in his future garage. It still seemed impossible, but maybe it wasn't. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Thomas Ellison, CEO of Hamilton Automotive Services. Mr. Reeves shared your contact information. We'd like you to start Monday if possible. Welcome to the team. Monday, 4 days away, 4 days to process everything that had happened. 4 days to prepare for a job that would change his entire life. He texted back, thank you, I'll be there Monday morning. That evening, he walked down to the corner store and bought ingredients for a real dinner, chicken, vegetables, rice. He brought it back and knocked on Mrs. Thompson's door. I'm making dinner tonight, he said. If you'd like to join me, she smiled. I'd be honored. They ate together in the boarding house's small dining room, and he told her the whole story. She listened and nodded, and occasionally shook her head in wonder. That's quite a turnaround, she said. Yesterday you were at rock bottom, today you're on top of the world. I don't know about on top of the world. Close enough. She reached across and patted his hand. You deserve this, Eli. Don't you doubt that for a second. That night, he lay in bed and thought about Monday, about walking back into Hamilton Auto Works, not as the mechanic they tolerated, but as the person in charge. About setting new standards, new expectations, new rules. No more nicknames, no more casual cruelty disguised as jokes, no more keeping people around for optics while treating them like they didn't matter. He thought about Marcus, who'd been kind, about Travis, who'd apologized, about Jake, who probably wouldn't like the changes, about Lisa at the front desk, who'd dismissed Daniel Reeves without a second thought. Things were going to be different. He'd make sure of it. Sleep came easier that night. And when it came, he dreamed of that garage again, Carter's Auto. But this time, it wasn't just a dream. This time, it had a foundation, a beginning, a chance. Monday morning, Eli stood outside Hamilton Auto Works at 6:15, 45 minutes before his official start time. The building looked the same gray concrete, same metal door, same sign hanging above the entrance. But everything felt different. He was different. He wore new clothes, slacks, and a button-up shirt that actually fit, bought over the weekend, with part of the signing bonus Daniel Reeves had insisted he take. His tool bag was freshly organized, the missing wrench replaced. His legs still hurt on cold mornings, that hadn't changed. But somehow it bothered him less today. He pushed through the door. The garage was empty except for Marcus, who was already at his station, prepping for the day. He looked up when Eli entered, did a double take. Eli, what are you doing here? Working. But Martha said, Martha doesn't work here anymore. Marcus set down his wrench slowly. What? Things are changing, Marcus, starting today. Before Marcus could respond, the front door opened again. Thomas Ellison walked in, followed by someone from HR, a woman in a suit carrying a tablet. Good morning, Ellison said. He had the kind of voice that commanded attention without being loud. Are you Eli Carter? Yes, sir. Good. Walk with me. They moved through the garage to Martha's old office, except it wasn't Martha's anymore. Someone had already cleaned it out. The photos were gone, the personal items removed, leaving just a desk and chair and filing cabinet. This is your office now, Ellison said. You'll want to set it up however you like. Make it yours. Eli nodded, still taking it in. The rest of the staff will arrive within the hour. I'm going to introduce you, explain the changes. But first, I need you to understand something. Ellison's expression was serious. What happened to you last week was unacceptable. The way you were treated was unacceptable. And it's going to stop. Not just here, but at all our locations. Yes, sir. Martha Klein was terminated for cause. We're reviewing several other employees' conduct as well. The culture here has been toxic, and we're going to fix it. He paused. But I can't do that alone. I need you to help me. Can you do that? I can try. That's all I ask. Ellison glanced at the HR representative. Rebecca here will help you understand your new responsibilities. Take the morning to get oriented. Then we'll have a staff meeting at noon. The next few hours were a blur of information, policies, procedures, responsibilities. Eli tried to absorb it all, but his mind kept drifting to the staff meeting, to facing everyone who'd worked alongside him, who'd witnessed his firing, who probably thought he'd never come back. By 11:30 the garage was full. Regular Monday morning activity, cars being serviced, customers waiting, coffee brewing in the break room. Eli saw Lisa at the front desk. She glanced at him, confusion on her face, then quickly looked away. Travis was under a Honda. Jake was in the parts room. At noon Ellison called everyone to the main floor. The mechanics stopped working. The front desk staff came out. Everyone gathered in a rough semicircle, maybe 15 people total. Ellison stood near the center, Eli beside him. Thank you all for stopping, Ellison began. I'm here today to announce some important changes. First, effective immediately, Martha Klein is no longer with the company. Her position has been filled. Murmurs ran through the group. Second, I want to introduce you to your new lead technical supervisor, Eli Carter. The murmurs got louder. Heads turned toward Eli. Some faces showed surprise. Some showed confusion. Jake's face showed something else, resentment, maybe, or anger. Some of you know Eli already, Ellison continued. He worked here as a mechanic until last week. He was let go for helping a customer in need, which was the wrong decision. We're correcting that decision and promoting him to a leadership position.
Travis raised his hand. Mr. Ellison, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Eli's never been a supervisor before. How's he qualified for this? It was a fair question. Eli didn't blame him for asking. Ellison nodded. That's a good question. Let me answer it this way. Technical skill is important, but it's not everything. Character matters. Integrity matters. How you treat people matters. Last week Eli demonstrated all of those qualities when he helped a customer that the rest of you turned away. He lost his job for it. That tells me he's exactly the kind of person who should be leading this team. He turned to Eli. You want to say something? Eli hadn't prepared a speech, hadn't thought about what he'd say. But looking at these faces, some friendly, some neutral, some hostile, he knew he had to try. I'm not going to pretend I know everything, he started. I don't. I'm still learning. But I do know this. Everyone who walks into this garage deserves respect. Every customer, no matter what they're driving or wearing or how much money they have. And everyone who works here deserves respect, too. He looked at Marcus, then at Travis. No more nicknames that hurt. No more jokes at someone's expense. No more making people feel small so you can feel big. Lisa shifted uncomfortably. If you've got a problem with someone, talk to them. If you see something that's not right, speak up. We're going to be better than we were. We have to be. Jake spoke up from the back. And if we don't want to do things your way, Eli met his eyes. then you're free to work somewhere else. Nobody's forcing you to stay, but if you stay you follow the rules. Same rules for everyone. Even you, especially me. Ellison stepped forward. All right, that's enough for now. Everyone back to work. Eli, Rebecca, let's talk in your office. The group dispersed slowly, conversations breaking out in low voices. Marcus caught Eli's eye and gave him a small nod. That was something. In his new office, Ellison and Rebecca went over the immediate priorities, reviewing current projects, meeting with each team member individually, establishing protocols. Don't try to change everything at once, Ellison advised. Start small, build trust, show them you're fair. What if they don't listen? Some won't. Not at first, but you keep doing the right thing, and eventually they'll either come around or they'll leave. Either way you win. After they left, Eli sat alone in his office. Through the window he could see the garage floor. People working, cars being fixed. Everything looking normal even though nothing was normal anymore. His phone buzzed. A text from Daniel Reeves. First day. How's it going? Eli smiled and typed back. Ask me again at the end of the week. Fair enough. Remember, you're there because you earned it. Don't doubt yourself. He set the phone down and looked at the photograph he'd brought from home. His mother smiling in her garden. He'd taped it to the corner of his desk. Then he stood up, took a breath and walked out onto the garage floor. Time to get to work. The first week was harder than Eli expected. Not the technical work, that part he understood. But the people part, the leadership part, that was new territory. Jake barely spoke to him. When he did, his tone was just on the edge of disrespectful, never quite crossing the line into something Eli could officially address. Lisa at the front desk followed the new protocols but did it with obvious reluctance, like each act of courtesy toward a walk-in customer physically pained her. Travis and Marcus were better. They respected the changes, even if they didn't fully understand them yet. On Wednesday afternoon, Eli was reviewing a repair estimate when he heard raised voices from the garage floor. He walked out to find Jake standing over a younger mechanic, Danny, a recent hire, maybe 19 years old, and laughing. Come on, kid, it's not that hard. My grandmother could change a tire faster than you. Danny's face was red. His hands shook as he tried to work. Jake, Eli's voice cut through the noise. Can I see you in my office? Jake's smile faded. I'm in the middle of now. They walked to the office in silence. Eli closed the door. You want to tell me what that was about? I was just joking around with Danny, trying to motivate him. That's not motivation. That's humiliation. He needs to toughen up. This is a garage, not a daycare. Eli kept his voice level. You remember when people called me limpy, when they made jokes about how slow I moved? Jake had the decency to look uncomfortable. That was different. How? I don't know. It just was. No, it wasn't. It was the same thing, making someone feel bad so you could feel superior. And it stops now. You can't control how people talk to each other. Yes, I can. I'm the supervisor. And I'm telling you no more. You want to help Danny get better. Teach him. Show him. Be patient. But don't tear him down. Jake crossed his arms. And if I don't, then you'll be looking for work somewhere else. They stared at each other for a long moment. Finally Jake looked away. Fine. Whatever you say, boss. It's not whatever I say, it's what's right. After Jake left, Eli sat down heavily. His leg was throbbing. He'd been on his feet for 7 hours straight. He rubbed his knee trying to ease the ache. A knock on the door. Come in. It was Danny. The young mechanic stepped inside hesitantly. Mr. Carter, I just wanted to say thanks for standing up for me. You don't have to thank me for that. Yeah, I do. Nobody else would have said anything. They would have just let Jake keep going. How long has he been doing that? Danny shrugged. Since I started 2 months now. But it's okay, I can handle it. No. Eli's voice was firm. It's not okay, you shouldn't have to handle it. You come to work, you do your job, you deserve to be treated with respect. That's the rule now. Danny nodded slowly. The other guys, they said you got fired for helping someone. Is that true? Yeah. And now you're back as the supervisor. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Danny smiled. If you need anything, just let me know. I got your back. After he left, Eli allowed himself a small smile. One person at a time. That's how you changed things. On Friday a customer came in, an older woman driving a beat-up Chevy. The car was making a terrible noise and she looked worried. Eli watched from his office as Lisa checked her in. The interaction was polite, professional. Lisa scheduled the diagnostic and explained the process clearly. Progress. Eli took the job himself, spent an hour going through the car, checking systems, listening to that awful grinding sound coming from somewhere in the front end. Finally found it: wheel bearing, completely shot, dangerous to drive on. The repair would cost about $400. He walked back inside to find the woman in the waiting area, nervously checking her phone. "Ma'am, I found the problem." She looked up. "Is it bad?" "It's your wheel bearing. Needs to be replaced. If you keep driving on it, the wheel could lock up or come off entirely." Her face fell. "How much?" "About $400 for parts and labor." She closed her eyes. "I don't have that right now. I can probably get it together by the end of the month." Eli thought about Daniel Reeves, about the help he'd received when he needed it most. "Tell you what, we can do the work today, and you can pay it in installments. $100 now, $100 every 2 weeks until it's paid off. No interest." "Really? You do that?" "Yes, ma'am. Let me just get the paperwork started." Later, as he was finishing up the repair, Marcus came over. "I saw what you did for that lady. The payment plan." "Yeah, that's not standard company policy." "I know, but Mr. Ellison gave me discretion to make exceptions when needed." "She needed help, so I helped." Marcus nodded slowly. "You know, when you first came back as supervisor, I thought maybe it was just politics or something. Affirmative action kind of thing. But I was wrong. You actually care." "About what?" "About people. About doing the job right. About this place being what it's supposed to be. That's the only reason I'm here." "I know that now." Marcus held out his hand. "For what it's worth, I'm glad you're the one in charge." They shook hands. That evening, as Eli was locking up, Thomas Ellison appeared. "How was your first week?" "Challenging." "Good. Different." "I've been getting reports. The team's adjusting, some faster than others. Jake's going to be a problem." "We expected that. Keep documenting. If he can't get with the program, we'll make a change." Ellison paused. "Daniel Reeves asked about you. I told him you're doing exactly what we hoped you'd do. I'm just trying to do the job right." "That's more than most people do." Ellison handed him an envelope. "Your first paycheck. Direct deposit will start next pay period, but I wanted you to have this one in hand. You earned it." Eli took the envelope. Later, sitting in his room at the boarding house, he opened it. $75,000 divided by 26 pay periods, minus taxes and benefits. Still more money than he'd ever seen in a single check. He called his mother. "Mama, I'm sending you something tomorrow. Extra money. For the medicine and for anything else you need." "Baby, you don't have to." "I want to. Things are different now. Better. You don't have to worry anymore." Her voice caught. "I never stopped believing in you, Eli. Never once." "I know, Mama. I know." After they hung up, he sat at his desk and pulled out Daniel Reeves's business card. The one about investing in Carter's Auto someday. He ran his thumb over the embossed letters. Not yet, but maybe soon. Maybe sooner than he'd thought possible. He fell asleep that night with something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not just hope, peace. 3 months later, Hamilton Auto Works looked different. Not the building itself, that was still the same gray concrete and metal, but the feeling inside had changed. The atmosphere, the way people talked to each other. Danny had gotten better at his job, faster and more confident. Marcus had been promoted to senior technician. Even Travis seemed happier, joking around but never at anyone's expense. Jake had quit after 5 weeks, turned in his resignation with a lecture about how the garage had gone soft and how real mechanics didn't need all these rules. Eli had wished him well, and meant it. Lisa had surprised everyone. After a few weeks of following the new protocols mechanically, something had shifted. One day Eli overheard her on the phone with a customer who was worried about costs, and her voice was genuinely kind as she explained payment options. When she hung up, she'd caught him watching and shrugged. "Turns out it doesn't actually kill you to be nice to people." Now it was a Tuesday afternoon in early May, and Eli was in his office when Thomas Ellison arrived with Daniel Reeves. "Gentlemen." Eli stood, shook their hands. "This is unexpected. I was in the area," Daniel said. "Thought I'd check in, see how my investment is doing."
your investment, in you, in this place, in the idea that businesses can actually do good while doing well. They walked the garage floor together. Daniel stopped to watch Danny working on a brake job, the young mechanic focused and careful. "Who's that?" "Danny, new hire, good kid. He seems confident." "He is now." Took some time but he got there. They moved on, past Marcus's bay, past the alignment rack that Eli used to spend his days cleaning. "Tell me honestly," Daniel said. "How's it really going?" "Better. Not perfect but better. People are learning that respect isn't optional, that everyone matters, not just the ones who fit a certain profile." "Any problems?" "Some resistance at first. One person couldn't adapt, but the rest came around. Turns out most people actually want to work in a place where they're valued." Daniel smiled. "Imagine that." They ended up in Eli's office. Daniel looked at the photograph on the desk. "Your mother?" "Yes, sir. She's proud of you. She tells me that. Probably more than I deserve." "I doubt that." Daniel sat down. "Eli, I'm here because I have a proposal. My company is expanding our service partnerships. We're looking for shops that exemplify the values we want to represent. Hamilton Auto Works is one of them, largely because of what you've built here." He pulled out a folder. "We want to offer you a franchise opportunity. Help you open Carter's Auto. We'll cover the startup costs, location, equipment, initial operating expenses. You'll run it independently, but with our backing and parts contracts. Think of it as a partnership." Eli stared at the folder. "I know it's sudden," Daniel continued, "and I know you've only been in this position for a few months, but I've seen enough. You have the skill, the integrity, and the vision. You're ready, Mr. Reeves. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. Read through the proposal. Talk to your mother. Take your time. But know that when you're ready the opportunity is there." After they left, Eli sat alone with the folder. Inside were business plans, financial projections, location options, everything he dreamed about, laid out in official documents with official numbers. Carter's Auto could be real. That evening he walked to Mrs. Thompson's kitchen and showed her the papers. She read through them slowly, her reading glasses perched on her nose. "Well," she said finally, "looks like you're going to need a bigger room." He laughed. "Maybe, if I do this." "What do you mean if?" "Of course you're going to do this. This is what you've been working toward. It's scary. What if I fail?" "Then you fail. But at least you tried. That's more than most people can say." She took off her glasses and looked at him seriously. "You know what I've learned in 73 years, Eli. Nobody's perfect. We're all limping along somehow, trying our best. But the ones who make it are the ones who don't let fear stop them. The ones who help others even when it costs them. The ones who build something good, even if it's hard." She patted his hand. "You're one of those people. Always have been." That night he called his mother and told her everything. "Oh baby," she said softly, "your daddy would be so proud. He always said you had a gift, not just for fixing things but for seeing people, really seeing them." "I'm scared, Mama." "Good. Means you care. Means it matters." She paused. "You remember what I told you after the accident, when you were in the hospital and thought your whole life was over? You said the world needs people who know what it's like to struggle." That's right, because those are the people who don't forget, who don't get comfortable and stop caring. You've struggled, baby. You know what it feels like to be overlooked, dismissed, counted out. Now you get to make sure nobody else feels that way. That's a gift. He wiped his eyes. "I love you, Mama. Love you too. Now go build that garage. And when it opens I want to be the first one there." 2 months later, on a warm July morning, Eli stood in front of a small garage in Queens. 2 bays, a small office, a waiting area with comfortable chairs and fresh coffee. Above the door, a new sign, Carter's Auto. The grand opening was simple. Mrs. Thompson came, wearing her best dress. Daniel Reeves came with his daughter Emma, now in remission and smiling. Thomas Ellison came, Marcus came, Danny came, even Lisa came. Eli's mother was there, standing proud beside her son, taking pictures with her phone. "Say a few words," Daniel encouraged. Eli looked at the small crowd, at the garage behind him, at the sign with his name on it. "I don't have a big speech prepared," he started. "But I want to say this, This place exists because people helped me when I needed it. Because someone saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Because I learned that you don't have to be perfect to do something good. You just have to care. He looked at his mother. Carter's auto is going to be different. Everyone who walks through that door will be treated with respect. Everyone who works here will be valued. And if you're struggling, if you need help, if you just need someone to see you as a person and not a problem, this is your place. He pulled out a key and unlocked the door. We're open. People filed in, looking around, admiring the clean bays and organized tools and the small framed sign on the wall. Everyone deserves dignity. Everyone deserves respect. Everyone belongs here. Emma Reeves, Daniel's daughter, stopped to read it. She turned to Eli. My dad told me what you did, how you helped him even though it cost you your job. I just did what felt right. That's what makes it matter. She smiled. Thank you for being the kind of person who helps strangers. The world needs more people like you. Later, after everyone had left, Eli stood alone in his garage. His garage. The one with his name above the door. He thought about the journey that had led here. The pain, the rejection, the moments of doubt, the kindness of Mrs. Thompson, the opportunity from Daniel Reeves, the support of his mother. His legs still hurt sometimes. That hadn't changed. Probably never would, but he'd learned something important. Imperfection wasn't weakness. It was just being human. And being human, flawed, struggling, but still trying, that was enough. More than enough. He turned off the lights and locked up for the night. Tomorrow his first customers would arrive. Tomorrow the real work would begin. But tonight, standing in the parking lot under the stars, looking up at the sign that read Carter's Auto, Eli allowed himself a moment of pure, uncomplicated joy. He'd made it, not despite his struggles but because of them. And that made all the difference. Did something. He didn't save Zoe, she saved him. She taught him that love isn't complicated. It's simple. It's showing up. It's staying. Dad, Zoe said, can we stay out here a little longer? We can stay as long as you want. So they did. Until the sun touched the horizon. Until it was time to go inside, to their home, to their life, to their family. Not perfect, but theirs. And that made it perfect enough. That's what staying means. Not some grand gesture or dramatic sacrifice, just showing up, day after day, until one day you realize you're not showing up out of obligation. You're showing up because this is where you want to be. This is where you belong. This is home. And that's everything.
Join us to share meaningful stories by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to start your day with profound lessons and heartfelt empathy.